Extra minutes.
What do and don't we know about sharks?
Oh, well, I guess in terms of some of the larger sharks, particularly white sharks, there's fairly much a dearth of information on them, particularly given the fact that they're relatively rare in the ocean and not much, therefore, not much has been able to be captured. So within the research area, one thing we did was actually look at the correlations between when shark attacks have occurred over the last 20 or 30 years and try and understand whether or not there's any particular situations where the shark attacks are more or less likely. What that's actually found is that the rate of shark attacks per head of population has been increasing over the last 20 years. It also found that the time of day wasn't correlated with the level of attacks, so the idea of dusk and dawn as being particularly at risk, we found no evidence of that. So we've tried to identify which of the things that people had a tendency to believe were actually backed up by data and which were probably just myths.
That changes some of our long-held beliefs about sharks and their movements.
And I would countenance it that that's the patterns we've observed off Western Australia. There may be different patterns occur in other locations, and I guess one of the difficulties we have is each shark species has its own patterns of behaviour. Individuals within that population have their own individual patterns, and that's one of the things we've learned from the tagging, that different sharks seem to undergo quite different patterns of movement.
What are the drum lines designed to do?
The drum lines are designed to reduce the local abundance of sharks. It's not designed to actually reduce the overall stock size of sharks, just those that happen to be of a particular size in a particular species in a particular area. So it's not designed to be an overarching reduction in the population size.
Are they effective?
Well, studies in other places in the world have found in some places they've been effective. Off New South Wales, Queensland and South Africa, there was dramatic reductions in the level of attacks, particularly fatal attacks, after mitigation mechanisms were put in place. Other places, such as Hawaii, it wasn't considered to be effective. So again, it very much depends on the individual circumstances, the species involved, the people's activity and also the local geography.
Have drum lines made beaches safer along the east coast of Australia?
The report that we had commissioned suggested that most of the beaches where there's been drum lines or netting implemented, that the bathers in those locations are safer.